Hi, how are you doing? My name is Rohit and I'll be breaking down the 22nd match of this year's IPL, which saw the Chennai Super Kings taking on the Kolkata Knight Riders in the MA Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai. And the home team did it again. The home team is now undefeated in the three matches at Chepauk. The Chennai Super Kings won this match by 7 wickets, handing the Kolkata Knight Riders their first loss of the season. And here's the thing. So far this season, Chennai has been relatively high scoring, like it was last season as well. Last season, the average score was 170. Prior to today, you saw RCB scoring around 160 when they batted first. Chennai scored 200 when they batted first. But today, KKR only managed 137. How they managed 137? Well, the pitch wasn't exactly slow, wasn't exactly turning, it wasn't exactly gripping, but the ball wasn't coming as nicely to the bat as it did when CSK played Gujarat or when CSK played Bangalore. The pitch was a lot trickier to bat on today. And I don't think the Kolkata batters made a proper sort of assessment of the pitch. It looked pretty good early on, actually. After Phil Salt gets out very first ball thanks to an incredible catch from Jadeja. The KKR put up a pretty good partnership. Sunil Narine and Ankush Raghuvanshi both looked very fluent, and they had a power play that had them going at pretty much 10 runs and over. And then after that, Ravindra Jadeja comes back, gets both Raghuvanshi and Sunil Narine out in the same over, and then the wheels started to come off. No other batter really got any sort of fluency going, and other than Shreyas Iyer, outside of that top three, Shreyas Iyer was the only player to have a strike rate of over 100. And even then, he only had a strike rate of 106. So that should tell you the type of pitch that this was. Nobody could get their footing. CSK kept taking wickets at regular intervals. Tushar Deshpande and Ravindra Jadeja both had 3-fers. Mustafiz Rahman pitches in with 2. And then, so that's already 8 right there. And then Tikshana gets 1 as well. So you really see what was going on. And all of them were very economical. You kind of got back to the typical CSK template of years past, where you had the spinners really strangle the opposition in the middle overs. That's what it really came back to. Tikshana and Jadeja were very economical in the middle overs, forcing the Kolkata batsmen to try and hit the seamers. And Tushar Deshpande, Mustafiz Rahman were both very economical, and they both also took wickets. Mustafiz in particular bowled an incredible final over, just giving up 2-3 runs while also taking 2 wickets. So sometimes in that last over, crazy things can happen. You go from a below par score to par score, and that could be the margin of victory. But Mustafiz did not allow that to happen. He took 2 wickets, only gave up 2 runs, and really helped limit the KKR batters in the back end to really just cement how dominant CSK was. And honestly, that was it basically for KKR. They really didn't assess the pitch well. They didn't give themselves the time. They saw how Sunil Narine and Ankush Raghuvanshi batted and thought, hey, we can replicate that too. But that's very difficult. And it proved to be very difficult because they weren't able to replicate what they did. Their shots weren't as free-flowing. They had to really struggle for every single shot. So they kept trying to slog and hit hard, but they only just ended up finding the fielders. And whatever dot ball pressure CSK created, it almost immediately resulted in a wicket being rewarded. And when you lose wickets in regular intervals, especially on a pitch like this where you have to really navigate it, you tend to get low scores, and KKR did get a low score. In reply, CSK put together a chasing clinic of how to chase down a low score. And it comes down to not panicking. Ruturaj Gaikwad gets off to a slow start, as he has been this entire season. And so people concern themselves with the Ruturaj Gaikwad strike rate, including today where he had 67 from 58 at a strike rate of 115. But here's the thing. In a chase like today, where it's a very low score, sometimes you need that sort of slow, deliberate knock. The most important thing is that Ruturaj Gaikwad did not panic. He did not get out. He did not put his wicket in jeopardy by playing a rash shot. If he played a rash shot, like how Sunil Narine and Ankush Raghuvanshi did when KKR was batting, that could have triggered a batting collapse. And a batting collapse while chasing is much more dangerous and much more disastrous than a batting collapse when setting a total. Because when you're setting a total, you have faith that the other players in the back end can step up even after a few lean overs. When you're chasing and you have a batting collapse, now you have to think, we can't let the run rate get out of hand, and sometimes that can create a snowball effect. Ruturaj Gaikwad's innings prevented that sort of snowball effect. Racha Ravindra falls in the power play, and then Daryl Mitchell helps stabilize the innings, and then Shivam Dube hits a few sixes to really get the run rate up to try and finish this off a bit quicker. So there were contributions, but Ruturaj Gaikwad's stability at the other end ensured that CSK would always have at least one set batter at the crease no matter what. And in a low-scoring chase, you need that. You need that stability at one end. So you have that guy who, if need be, can take over because he understands how the pitch behaves. He knows who to take on, when to take on, how to pick his spots. You have to learn to pick your spots. And CSK did a good job of that. They did a really good job of strike rotation. They did not let the dot balls affect them. And it wasn't going to affect them much anyway with a low total. You can afford to have a bit of lean overs, especially if you get out in front in the power play like CSK did. The funny thing is, CSK was going at 9s in the power play compared to KKR's 10s. But KKR suffered a huge slowdown because they kept losing wickets, and which started with Ravindra Jadeja taking both Narain and Raghuvanshi in the same over. CSK never had that sort of slowdown because they never let wickets fall in a heap. Other than Dhoni, who came in at the very end for CSK, and every single batter faced at least 8 balls. Rachavindra 15 from 8, Daryl Mitchell 25 from 19, Shivam Dube 28 from 18. So you have a lot of players who contributed, who played solid knocks. Would you have liked some of those players to keep going? Yes, but here's the thing. Ultimately, this was a very simple win and a great understanding of how to play to the situation. If CSK panicked, they could have been bowled out. They could have lost this match because this was not an easy pitch. This is not a pitch that someone could come in and just swing from ball one. Trying to find those players is very rare. So CSK didn't panic and they just made this chase simple. No real big hitting. They got ahead of the run rate. They stayed ahead of the run rate. Whenever there was a loose ball, they put it away for a boundary. Sometimes that's all you need, and today that proved to be enough. That sort of situational awareness is what separates the contenders from the pretenders. And as we get towards the middle part of the tournament, and especially towards the business end, that situational awareness, that match awareness is going to separate the playoff teams from the teams who look towards an auction and say, well, how do we improve our team? And right now, both of these teams are still sitting within the top 4, but that could easily change. CSK has shown that they can win games from different positions and in different scenarios. They can win when chasing a par score. They can defend a high total. They can chase a low total. But what's important is that in no way, shape, or form did you ever see CSK panic. They never looked at the dot balls and said, hey, we're taking on a bit too many dot balls. Let's see if we can try and accelerate the run rate. So that sort of awareness to say, hey, we don't have to panic. We don't have to try and force ourselves to score at a higher rate. And that sort of awareness is going to serve them well. And it's going to, and for Gaikwad today, the ability to navigate that sort of chase, the ability to stay to the very end and stay unbeaten in this sort of chase is going to do wonders for him in the future. He had a very lean start to the tournament, only 88 runs in 4 matches. Today, he scores an unbeaten 67 to guide CSK to victory. So that's pretty much it for both teams. For KKR, it's just one loss. Just look back at what happened, think about what you could do better, and just move on from there. For CSK, you got to think about just how to keep this rolling. You're back on the winning path. Hopefully, you start to string some wins together. And for KKR, it's about how you get back to that winning path. So for both of these games, for both of these teams, one streak ended, another streak started, and for KKR, they want to stop this losing streak at 1, and for CSK, they're going to want to continue this winning streak. And with that, thank you so much for watching. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back to cover the next game. And for now, have a good one.